Hi guys. I don't know if you've read the news recently, but you know that there's been a lot of things that has been happening in the news quite recently. Obviously, President Trump has been inaugurated into office. There have been a few major plane crashes, including one that just happened today. But most importantly, in the scope of AI and in terms of the US stock market, there has been a new competitor in the generative AI business, and the name is DeepSeek. So I don't know if you've actually heard of it or not. I think by this time, if you're on the internet and if you're not living under a rock, you would have at least heard of it. And I'm assuming that if you are just a general person in general, you would have heard of ChatGPT, right? So what exactly is the problem here? Because obviously, you know that the US and China are two very different countries and they have very different ideologies. So they're sort of in an arms race right now, especially in the field of AI, since like the year 2023, where the two countries have been fighting to gain dominance over each other in the AI field. So, what is the problem here? Obviously, because ChatGPT came out first, I think it came out like about 2023 or like 2022, I forgot. But yes, it came out first, and everybody thought that that was it, that the US had won the space race in the AI field, right? But then no, like China comes in I don't know, 3 years later or 4 years later, and then just brings out their own brand new technology. It's called DeepSeek AI. And why is it so groundbreaking, you say? Yeah, first of all, it does the exact same thing. Like, I use both ChatGPT and I use DeepSeek AI, but like they both do the same thing, which is kind of surprising because like first of all, DeepSeek is an open source company, and it is also, fun fact, much cheaper to run. And also, it is by China, meaning that people will automatically think that the quality of the product is bad, right? But in my honest opinion, and like according to the opinions of many other Americans, they also think that the technology in DeepSeek AI often like rivals ChatGPT, or oftentimes it excels against ChatGPT in terms of fields such as logical thinking, math, and stuff like that. And the fact that you don't have to pay for it, DeepSeek is 100% free. There's no subscription models, and I can use every single aspect of it, such as the logical reasoning part, without having to pay a single cent to a company. So now, what is the problem here, right? The problem here, which I've said this 3 times already, but I will say what the problem is now. So they're very different countries, right? The problem is that DeepSeek is much cheaper to run than ChatGPT. So why is ChatGPT even so expensive, and why are other different generative AI so expensive in the first place? Well, it's because they run on very expensive chips. They're often made from multi-billion-dollar companies such as Nvidia. I hope you've heard of it before. I mean, if you don't, you're probably living under a rock. But yes, they make chips, they make computer chips, and they're often really expensive because, like, obviously, they want to make money. And also, like, I'm not sure what goes into the supply chain of making like these very expensive computer chips and like processing chips as well. But you see, the main problem is that while ChatGPT spent up to about $10 billion starting off and training their AI model, like DeepSeek AI spent only about 5 to 6 million. And if you know math, you know that those are very different numbers. That's a really, really big difference. So obviously, US stock investors and just people who invest in the stock market in general, they're now pulling out of ChatGPT. They're now pulling out of OpenAI, Google Gemini, and most importantly, they're pulling out of Nvidia, which had seen the biggest drop in stock like price share in history. They dropped about $500 billion. And then they also made the record for the biggest comeback with about $200 billion within like the first day. So that's pretty shocking. But obviously, I think like DeepSeek AI has a lot of potential. I honestly don't know how their business model works, and so does like a lot of people. But if I'm gonna be honest, like if you're looking for a model that it just works perfectly fine and you don't want to pay for it, I recommend DeepSeek, and it's quite good at math. It's more accurate than ChatGPT. I've tried it before. But there's a few setbacks. So what are the setbacks? Okay, because first of all, it's run by China, so obviously if you're like pro USA, maybe don't use it. I don't know. And also, another thing, which is an actual concern to many people, and many people who are not living in China, or maybe like it could be a concern for those living in China, but like they're already suffering under censorship anyway, so maybe it's not even a big deal for them. But like a lot of topics that relate to sensitive stuff, with the Chinese Communist Party is often censored on DeepSeek AI, and I think it's quite intuitive for them to do so because, like, obviously they wouldn't want their own they wouldn't want their own citizens accessing this type of information because in recent years, I think back in like the 2010s, they have censored a lot of major websites and major internet providers and internet browsers such as Google and such as they censored basically everything that relates to the outside world. So if you want to use DeepSeek AI, like if you want to, I don't know, find out about Tiananmen Square, or you want to find out about Hong Kong, or whether Taiwan is a country, I think you should use ChatGPT because, first of all, ChatGPT is like less uncensored. I'm not saying that like it's completely uncensored. Like, of course, it won't tell you some stuff, but if relating to these topics, it's definitely more uncensored than DeepSeek. And also, there are concerns about users' security, their personal data being mishandled. About the TikTok ban that has happened in 2025 and how it was repealed literally like one day after. Yeah, so I think all of these social security concerns with the US and other countries as well might affect the popularity of DeepSeek, and perhaps we might see a country or a few banning it. And considering that Donald Trump is now in office, I mean, there's nothing really stopping him, to be honest. So, like, yeah. Bye bye.